afternoon to all in attendance. My name is Eden Ozenugu. I am your moderator for this event, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to this edition of the summit. It is themed Curbing the Challenges of Digitalized Financial Services. If you're joining us for the first time, this is how CORE usually holds quarterly webinars to deliberate with various industry experts covering an array of very interesting topics. Today, I am joined by some very esteemed guests. Please allow me to introduce to you Ahmed Odufuwa. He's the Senior Product Manager at PayVantage. I also have as a panelist, Amos Adesuyi. He's the Lead Data and Intelligence Resource at Credit Switch. And then I have Alexander Udensi. He's the Partner Relations Officer at CORE. I would now allow all three to briefly introduce themselves, to say a few words about the organizations they represent. So please go first, Ahmed. Say hello to the audience and tell us a bit about yourself and PayVantage.
Yeah, hi for having me on this panel. Pretty much excited to be here. As you mentioned, my name is Ahmed Odufuwa, Senior Product Manager in PayVantage. PayVantage is a payments company. We're quite innovative, as it were. Our core business is vending airtime and bundle. Basically, we leverage on that to create innovative payment solutions for the ecosystem. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
IT and other financial related industries. Then one of our key infrastructure is one of our key competencies is our infrastructure in the area of USSD and VAS, and we also deal with other utility bills such as insurance, cable TV, and every other digital products. So I think we are majorly customer centric, because we are looking for how much we can bring products to people with ease, even because our keyword is convenience. So that's thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very interesting to hear. Finally, Alex.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alex Udensi, and I'm responsible for partner relations at CORE. CORE Software and Systems, we're a company focused on accurate, secure, and timely provision of relevant data to our various stakeholders. We provide platforms that centralize data access, manages the data, and delivers it in a standard manner. Through these platforms, we're able to gather or aggregate data from different sources, from different relevant and reliable sources that we could use to create services and provide value to our stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we're very excited to have you three. And we look forward to your very insightful contributions. So now let's get straight into it. So what are we going to be discussing today? So in our discussion today, we would consider a brief introduction, the benefits of digitalized financial services and the challenges facing the same. Then we would move straight to our panel session. After the discussion with the panelists who I've just introduced, we would entertain a few questions from the audience and then introduce cause A&Q, and then we can conclude for the day. At this point, I would like to inform all in the audience to feel very free. I see a hand up, but to feel very free to drop your questions or your comments in the Q&A box, and we'll give attention to it in due course. So we won't be entertaining verbal comments, but we'll be sure to read through your comments or questions dropped in the Q&A box. All right, so let's go straight into the business for today. The rise of digitalized or digital financial services has created this wide range of financial products and services that could be accessed and delivered through multiple digital channels, such as the mobile apps, internet banking, agent networks, and USSD. They say the only constant thing is change, and it's been incredible to watch the trueness of this statement in the financial space today. Through innovative technologies and platforms, this opportunity for financial institutions to reach out to the unbanked population has been born. But what are the benefits? What are the benefits of digitalized financial services? The various advantages or benefits of digitalized financial service, growth in revenue, you would agree. Also worthy of note is that it eliminates the need for manual data entry and provides a more convenient and faster way to assess and manage information. Now, with advantages of some new technologies come various challenges, as you can imagine, and the same is true for digitalized financial services. Digitalized financial institutions are more prone to identity theft and fraud. Another challenge can be linked to the difficulty in assessing credit reports for the unbanked population. Now, we'll learn more about this from the horse's mouth, as it were, in the panel session that is to follow. This brings us to our panel session. So we welcome once again Ahmed, welcome Amos and Alex. It's my pleasure to have you all on the platform and on this program. At this point, I would like for the screens to stop being shared so the full attention can be on our invited guests. So I have a few questions that can guide the direction of our discussions today. So I want you all to feel very free to share your valuable insights and give practical examples that the audience can relate to it where appropriate. I'm also seeing some comments being dropped already in the Q&A box. So this is good. Keep them coming and we'll be treating them very soon. So let's dive into this, shall we? The first question is directed at Ahmed. What are the other challenges that face digitalized financial services?
All right, thank you, Eden. Very wonderful presentation you had as a forerunner for us. Yeah, so as mentioned in your presentation, you realize that, I mean, the situation around digital financial services, you keep seeing things around availability of data for credit scoring, things around fraud and all of that. But beyond that, right, you would also understand that it's very important that the users are able to, have a seamless experience adopting many of these services, right? Because naturally the banks, we, the ecosystem players, ultimately provide the services for a reason, so that the users can consume the services, right? So what I keep saying, right, that I think is very key, which is at the heart of what we do in PayVantage, is making sure that the user is at the center of what we're building. So you speak about concept like user-centered design and all of that. So I think the user experience is one of the key things that needs to be factored in when you're building and when you're trying to provide financial services for everyone. Yeah.
Thank you. That was very insightful. Any additional thoughts, Amos, on this, the challenges that face digitalized financial services?
Very much. Yes, apart from the other challenges that we've mentioned now, we also have the political challenge that I think an economy challenge, because before people can easily have access to all these financial products, everything boils down to the regulations. That's the enabling environment. So if the enabling environment is which to some extent, people we tend to have this feeling about it that is not. So those are the challenges that we are facing in most of the rural area actually, because some of them just have some feelings that, okay, I don't even know how they are deducting my money. Some people even prefer that I don't want to put my money there. So those are apart from the economic factor and the political factor, every other factor mentioned too, yes. But there is always a way around it, because with this digitized financial system, everything is very transparent. People can see what things are happening for. So those are the awareness that we just need to create for people. Let them be aware of what this is being used for. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, very insightful indeed. The second question I have, how do digitalized financial services benefit the unbanked or the underbanked population? Alex, would you like to throw some light on that?
Yeah, so firstly, the unbanked or the underbanked population are people that don't have access to regular financial services. So the major point is that the digital financial services have allowed unbanked or underbanked people to obtain access to that financial services through digital technological innovation. Innovation in technology and business have also resulted in the rise of digital financial services, which can lower the cost, which can increase speed, which can bring transparency, which can bring security and availability. Also, for all these things are more tailored for the financial services that we're experiencing today. And also, it brings all this in at a scale, and digitization can reduce friction in each step along a financial life cycle. For instance, if you want to open a bank account, you have to go to the bank and get a lot of forms and all that. But these days, you can just sit in your house and dial a USSD code, and your bank account is ready to open. And also, with all the information gotten from this digital financial information, you build a data trail that could be used to enhance transparency and also be used to serve creditworthiness and other things like that. And also it helps with the costing for creating, accessing digital financial services.
Yeah, totally agree. Any supporting comments, Amos or Ahmed, on this point?
Yeah, I mean, just like Alex had mentioned, right? You continue to see, you know, increase in digital adoption amongst the populace, right? This is in linear relationship with the penetration of smartphones and also you continue to see a lot of innovation around that, and I think Alex was spot on in addressing that. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So how do digitalized financial services affect the banks and the other service providers? Is this a good or bad impact? How that? I'll direct that question at Amos. Please share some insights on this, please.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. To a very large extent, these digitized financial services has really impacted both banks and other service providers positively. Let's even start from the operational parts. The way they work now is smarter, faster, and even more efficient. The way, if you launch complaint, you can even send an email and your complaint will be attended to. You can resolve a lot of issues even using your applications. So the way the work is being done now is smarter and it's faster. That's on the other side. The other part of it is even in the core banking area as well. Auditing, record, reporting purpose, tracking of performances, trends, forecasting, predictions, all those artificial intelligence coming in has really helped in the way banking is being done right now. And this has, it has effects as well on businesses and even the economy at large. So it has created a lot of jobs, opportunity for people, mobile money agents everywhere. We have investment opportunity available that you have access to all those informations that you can. So yeah, on the long run, it has really helped both the banks and as well other businesses. However, like I mentioned the other time, the area where we still need to improve on is on those area of shortcoming of reports, awareness level. I strongly have a feeling that because with the look of things, when I check the CBN record of financial inclusion, is still low in most of the rural area. So that awareness level really need to work on that area. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, I want to speak from what you have just said, and I'll direct this question at Ahmed. I think he'll give more details as to what we require here. Are there any issues with the digitalized financial services that do not face the consumers? So here I'm asking, what are the issues that the service providers, PayVantage, Credit Switch, and the likes, what are the issues that they face with the digitalized financial services? Because we can talk about all the benefits, but what are some of the challenges or issues that come with it?
Okay, just to be very spot on looking at that. So like Amos had mentioned in one of his comments that, I mean, we have political issues, economic issues as being broadly faced by any business at all, right? But if we bring it very much close home, right? You continue to realize that it's very important to work very closely with regulators when you're innovating, when you're building interesting solutions around financial sector, because you know you work with regulators, it's around what you see as the need. We speak about requires certain unconventional methods of accessing financial services, most likely through their phones. It could be through their feature phones or through their Android phones or through any form of phone. So you then continually see that if you need to innovate, right, you need to innovate alongside the regulators and also work together as an ecosystem to get this thing out. So very importantly, the major challenge I see is making sure that while we innovate, we have a united front. We work on working with regulators. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. So with all the technology involved, do digitalize, or would you say, in your personal opinion, would you say that digitalized financial services increase the price of access to financial services or lower it? Amos, could you give attention to this?
Okay, yeah. So thank you. So going practical wise, I've mentioned the aspect of economy, some decisions that they are making, and we have some charges that comes with it based on even USSD now. We have instances where you'll be charged if you want to use USSD. These are regulation things. These are enabling environment that I've been talking about. However, if we look beyond that side, I can say to a very large extent that it has really lowered it in terms of access, speed, security-wise, transparency, and even cost of operation. It has really lowered it. In a department, let's say for example, the number of times it takes to audit might take months. You can complete your audits within days. In fact, within hours, since all the information are digitized. So, and you can move to the next one. So it has saved a lot of time, efforts, and So yeah, apart from the economy side, the decision of the government, political factor, and everything, on the long run, it has really, 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 really lowered the costs of financial services.
Yeah, I really like the practicality of that. Alex, do you have anything to add on this topic? And we're asking, do digitalized financial services increase the price of access to financial services or lower it? What have you seen from your experience?
Yes, like I said, I feel like it reduces the cost. I know there might be two sides to it, but I like to use an instance of myself. Maybe when I was way younger in secondary school, if my parents wanted to pay my school fees, they'll have to give me cash. I have to take the cash to the bank, raise a draft. By the time I'm done with all these processes, if I put into effect the human cost, the transport cost, and the cost of printing and all that, that's a whole lot of cost. But just imagine I want to make school fees payments. I just go online, use either USSD, use WebPay, use my bank app or whatever, and I just make that payment quick and I get response immediately. That makes the process, number one, it makes it easier. And that ease of the human cost already and removed. So you just have a very simple way to go about it. So I feel like that actually reduces the cost.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to pick from the very first question you commented on about the underbanked or unbanked population. One of the common issues with them is the lack of financial information or financial history. So how do bank and non-bank financial institutions address this issue of lack of financial information for a particular set of people?
At the end, I said every transaction generates a data trail. Every digital financial transaction generates a data trail. So this data trail now, for instance, if you accumulate it with time, it creates a whole lot of history about people. When you open a social media account, when you make a purchase of airtime on your telco, when you register, when you buy something online, when you use your card to buy stuff, all these things are information that are accumulated, and over time they can use it to check your creditworthiness. They can use it to check your location. They can use it to check. There are a lot of things they can use these things to check, and all this information that has been gathered now is a sort of financial information history. Because when they say financial information history, everybody just runs to the fact of how much did he pay in, how much did he pay out.
Yeah.
But no, a lot of transactions mean your financial history, the kind of history you can get. So the main way to get financial history is to study every gone on online.
Thank you. I really agree with that fact that data is new gold. There are a lot of insights we can get from the data that is available today through the telcos and other means. Okay, Ahmed, I'm coming back to you with this question. It says, with the availability of digitalized financial services, how do we secure them? How do we make it secure for the end users?
Okay, Eden, thank you so much. Yeah, so you can't really overemphasize that. The security is very key. How I would choose to go about that is we already know that to a large extent we build in all of our build as an ecosystem. We try to build for security. We try to make sure that whatever we're building is less prone to penetration. But you still find out that the users are pretty much vulnerable in the sense that sometimes they are not able to protect themselves. So it speaks to awareness, speaks to education, speaks to incentivizing them. And I would like to also, bring up a very interesting, innovative idea at this point.
How do we secure digitalized financial services? Any ideas, Amos?
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much. I think one of the key things to security is, is from the data. We can understand trends and pattern. Yeah. I won't underestimate those guys that are threats to it. They are innovating every time and they are trying to see how much they can bypass things and make things work for themselves. So yeah, data can really help in that area. We understand the trends, we know what's happening. Immediately we see a pattern that is, not the regular pattern, like an outliers. We flag it and we look for how to block it and prevent it from happening. So, and at the same time, we also need to think like them, in my opinion. You definitely need to think like them because fix all the loopholes within your system, try and see areas where, as much as possible, the security you put in place, you check them and they are always intact. So yeah, penetration test is one of the key things that most of all these digitized financial institutions are doing. They try to, let's see if people can even penetrate. Let's look for, and do thorough testing before you deploy anything to production because you don't know where bug is. You will have deployed something and you just see bugs and those guys are waiting for it. So data can help, thorough testing can help, and also monitoring of the system, of the infrastructure can help more in that area. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Amos. Ahmed, we're coming back to you on that your innovative idea. But Alex, did you want to say something before then?
It's fine.
Yes, I did. So to secure digital financial services, he has given us the technical aspects. I have two other aspects to it. One of them is the policies, the regulation. Now, there's no business you want to go into that is not regulated. There has to be some way to regulate how people use these businesses, what people can do with these services, how these services function and all that. That's the first one. And the second one to secure digital financial services, authentication. Like there is no way you won't think about it that you won't think about making something authenticated. Now, authentication these days has gotten easier. There is thumbprints, there's retinal scan, there are two-step verification for passwords and all that. In as much as we try to make it easier, but we should also try to make it authentic. We should also try to make it complex so that if I have an authentication process for my financial service, I know that it's just me that can access it. Not that if someone is able to get my thumbprint or if someone is able to do something simple, he has complete access. So the two things I said we should look at is regulation and authentication.
All right, thank you. Ahmed, we're all ears to hear that innovative idea. So
yes. So in PayVantage, what we try to do is try to be very innovative in our deployments, right? So we put a lot of our thinking into thinking like the customer. Where exactly can we meet them at their point of experience, right? So one of the interesting thing I find around this is you could incentivize the users, right, around whatever solution that you have. And how do I mean incentivizing the users, right? You could have you could gamify your deployments to users, helping them earn some sort of rewards by being more secure. Say, for instance, how many times have you done transactions this month, right? So based on the number of times the users have done transactions, what sort of experiences are they able to protect themselves in terms of keeping their PIN and all of those sort of things? So you could build some sort of interesting point system around that, and reward these users for keeping the security of their application and all of that. Yeah. So I find it pretty different in top, but I think we could explore things around that and really just have users in mind when we build things.
The reward system definitely sounds really good to me. There's a comment in the question and answer session. Okay, he says, great work by the organizer and the panelists on the unbanked. I think there's still more work to be done for the inclusion of the unbanked towards digital inclusiveness. Looking at the statistical figures, Nigeria as a case study, the percentage of unbanked is still at the highest stage because of the education, inadequate access to technological advancements and awareness. I think of a technological advancement called Bespoke that can be used to fully capture the unbanked. My question to the panelists, what other models can be used to capture the unbanked to the digitalized world? This question is by Joseph Adebayo. So who would I throw this to? Who would like to give an answer to this question? Did you get the question correctly? He was asking about the unbanked.
Yeah, so if I may chime in while my other colleagues also, chime in as well. I think that to a very large extent, right, if you look at other countries that have really moved pretty much around, being able to get more people financially included. Let's say, for example, Kenya, the M-Pesa and all of that, you realize that the model they have running is a telco-led model, which Nigeria now is seemingly, deploying, where, for driving financial inclusiveness, you realize that the telcos now are at the forefront of pushing, the services to the interlands, because the telcos have more penetration, they have better reach, so you realize that many of all the services are now being enabled by the, in code, the PSBs that's the CBN has now,
That's good, thank you. I hope that was able to address that question. Amos, you have additional thoughts?
No. I quite agree with Ahmed on this, because that's a model that Kenya is really doing. But Nigeria just started embracing the MNOs to be, they are giving them the license of PSB, for example, MTN Momo. The penetration rates of that particular business in Nigeria, OPay, all those non-bank mobile money agents. Yes. Before everything was rallying around bank should establish this, but the growth is not high. I could recollect that in between 2010 and 2012, the growth was about 3%. But now, when they compare the statistics of people that now have access to more financial, more digitalized financial services, it has really grown by about 30%. So all those MNOs, they are the one really coming to help, and I think they are doing a great job. So that's how to penetrate into the rural hinterlands. You can't expect banks to go and set up because there are factors they consider before setting up banks in some area. We need to consider the carrying capacity, the population, even the people around the area, if they have enough knowledge to know. But with this mobile money, it is localized within their region. They can see someone they are relating with directly in their local language. So those are the things that is really working, and awareness level as well. They are doing well in that area. I am looking forward to the statistics for this year, because I know. By the time they release, CBN release the statistics of the black people, there's going to be a difference, turnaround there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope that's given sufficient, explanation or clarification to Joseph, to your question, Joseph. Thank you for dropping that. I see another question. Someone is asking, what solution is there to address the lack of financial information history? Alex, would you mind answering that?
platform provider. And one of the major things our platform does is aggregate data, analyze data, and make data available for services to stakeholders. So that's the major, that's our focus point. And one of the main service we have that handles financial history of the underbanks is the KYC financial verification service. Now, what this service does is that it makes use of the customer or the client's financial history. Now, this financial history is gotten from the telcos. It's using the person's recharge history, it's using the person's call count, it's using the person's call history, the number of calls the person makes, how many times the person recharged, how many times the person has loaned credit and has made payments on those credits. It makes use of all these data to give, will I say, a credit rating, a rating to the person. Okay, this person is has this level. This person has this level, let me say from 1 to 5, 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. So this person's rate is 1, this person's rate is 2, this person's rate is 3, 4, and all that. So the major point here is that using the telco data like we've been talking about, to make use of your telco information, because almost everybody has phones and you make calls and you receive calls and you recharge. So they make use of all those information. Using it, they build a financial history for you, since that what we have access to you, and that can as a base for the information the banks need. Also, when you want to register your SIM, you put in your name, you put in your location, you put in your surname, your gender, your date of birth, and all that. All those information also are stored and are banked somewhere. In a situation whereby someone needs your information, the simple thing they can do is that with the information you have provided to that service provider, they can just do a quick check across the telcos on our platform, and they see, okay, is this person providing the correct information, yes or no? So that's the major service, the KYC financial verification.
All right, that was an exhaustive comment. Thank you for that answer. I think I would entertain just one last comment. We already transitioned from our panel section to our question and answer. So now we're entertaining questions from the audience. The last question says, to secure financial services, do you think collaboration between financial stakeholders play any role? Well, what is your advice? So they're asking our panelists, do we think that collaboration between financial stakeholders play any role in securing financial services? So who would like to address that?
The simple idea I have is, yes, collaboration should be able to help, in as much as they are competitors in the same industry and they want to make profits above one another. But they know that the service that they have has to be secured for those people that they are targeting to be able to use it. So if they don't come together to butt heads and create good policies around the security of the services, the digital financial services that they may come up with, at some point they may be contradicting each other in the same space. So one provider is saying this, and another provider is saying that. So I think at some point they should have to make some collaboration to build policies that will help secure or regulate the services that they may come up with. That's the only aspect I think they should collaborate on.
Okay, let's hear from the horse's mouth. Amos and Ahmed are in the financial space. So let's hear from you, Amos.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, it's well noted that, before any policy can be made, everybody must agree. Because there are some policies that, governments will just come up and make, because if they are divided, some people will embrace it, some will not embrace, and it might not be favorable. These are the people, we are the one interacting with the customers directly. We know their pains, we know what they are expecting, and the whole design is consumer-centric. So if something, a particular policy is coming that is not going to be favorable to them, we're in the right place to let them know. And at the same time, the collaboration is also needed, even with the partners as well, because in the area of helping people with no record, financial record, is very necessary. We have this data, like Alex has said, we have this data existing. We can bring up, insights from them. If someone is coming for the first time, I just need to get some basic information, compare with the past records of some other people, and I see the trend. Okay, I think 80% there's chance for this person to, meet up. So that person can be granted and also not denied at that moment. So yeah, that collaboration is needed. That partnership is needed to fight this entire financial inclusion, digitalized financial inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ahmed, do you have any final comments, or have they said it all?
Oh, well, I mean, Alex and Amos did good justice to that. But I just want to, just say this. So you realize that if there's no collaboration amongst the players, ecosystem players, and between also the players and the regulators, ultimately there will be no enriching value for the customer. So all of what we're trying to do is to, have that value given to the customer, and the only way that can happen is if we work hand in hand to make that work. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. In fact, this has been very engaging and very insightful things we've all discussed during this panel section. I've personally learned a lot. I believe those in the audience have done the same. So let's quickly take a look at the next few slides. Like Alex had earlier explained, the all number query, or ANQ, is a lookup platform that provides easy and quick access to information on various data resources. Now, the ANQ aggregates data from reliable sources, for example, the mobile operators or telcos, just like we've spoken about, the MNP clearinghouses, and then analyzes this data and uses it to create valuable services around KYC, fraud prevention, and routing. This process flow shows how real-time checks are being carried out to inform intelligent decisions and ensure timely responses to business opportunities. Now, during an onboarding, for example, a service provider may want to verify a customer's identity. So they send a request via any of the preferred channels to the ANQ platform. At stage 2, the ANQ performs a smart filter to identify the network location of the sent request. So is it in MTN, 9Mobile, Glo, or Airtel? And then routes it to the appropriate telco in stage 3. To ensure compliance with NIDA and GDPR requirements, and to also show our respect for individuals' private data, a consent process is employed, as we see in stages 4 and 5. Now, once consent is granted, the information is relayed from the telcos back to ANQ, and if necessary, further analysis is being done on ANQ before final response to the financial service provider. It is worthy to note that this process I have just described is done in real time, in seconds, in some cases milliseconds, so as to ensure that it does not interfere with the service provider's internal processes. So this is about the ANQ platform. I would like to talk next about 2 core services, first starting with the fraud prevention. And the fraud prevention is a central component of any financial institution's operation. We understand this at core, which is why our fraud prevention service was designed to help prevent fraudulent activities by identifying and flagging potentially fraudulent transactions before they are approved. Through this service, financial institutions, bank and non-bank, can check the authenticity of a services initiator. This allows them to make informed decisions and minimize their losses. Next, we have the KYC service. KYC as a concept is very broad. For us at core, it includes name verification, update match, financial verification, and location-based services. The overall goal of the KYC process is to provide financial institutions and other firms with the necessary information to make informed decisions and to provide appropriate services to their customers. So conclusively, from what we've discussed today, What can this mean for you if you're a bank or a fintech? Well, there are numerous benefits, but I'll focus on just a few. By implementing the solutions just discussed, you can verify your customer's identity in real time. You can flag suspicious transactions. You can access timely, accurate, and updated customer information. And then finally, you can scale up your onboarding process. Who doesn't want to save time? What about if you are a direct user or you're a customer, you're the end user? So what can this mean for you? How do our solutions benefit you? Well, our solution guarantees a good level of protection from fraudulent activities. You don't want to be victims of fraud. As it also guarantees or ensures access to more financial benefits, faster account setup, and onboarding. Have you enjoyed this webinar today? I hope you have. If you'd like to learn more about what we have just discussed, about more about Core, more about our services, please contact us at sales@coretech.com. That is sales@COURE-tech.com. On behalf of all of us, on behalf of my very, very esteemed panelists, I would like to extend a very warm thanks to all in the audience. Thank you for sitting put. Thank you for gracing this fine event. And I do hope you found the conversations today very insightful, very useful. We'll be sharing the slides and a thank you note shortly after the webinar. And we hope to see you again come Q4. Till then, many, many thanks and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.